What's up, guys? Welcome back to another how to use guide on the Pokemon Masters Council, and I am winning again. We're talking about Hatterene this time, Justin.
Yeah, dude. If there was ever an honorable mention for your top 10, I think she might be it. She's been at your kind of 11 for a while, hasn't she? She's one of your favorites. She's your favorite 8th gen rep, right?
Yes, her and Grimmsnarl are my favorite. Yeah. She's knocking on the door to get into that top 10. Awesome. We've got some,
and she is psychic type.
Yeah, she's a psychic type. We've made some good use of this Pokemon on the channel in 8th gen and 9th gen already. So
we've used her so much. She's a staple. She's great. She was great in Dynamax format, and guess what? She's great now. She still has a lot of uses. But Zero, before we get into that, we're still on the climb, buddy. We're still heading towards that 1K.
Yeah, so if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed already, please, please, please give us a like. We're trying to hit that 1,000 subscribers. We want to hit that before November. Help us hit that before November. Get that 1,000 subscribers. It would really help us out. It only takes a minute of your time. So, Justin, let's talk about Hatterene. There's so much to talk about. I could talk for days about this Pokemon. Where should we start?
Well, I mean, aesthetically, she's great. So obviously, she's the final of 3 stages. You can only have her as a female. It's the only way she comes. And what is it? Hatterene, and what's the first one?
Hatena is the first one, then Hatterene, then Hatterene.
Then Hatterene. And basically, they are... It's the sorting hat from Harry Potter. It's literally a magic hat became a Pokemon.
Yes. Oh, also, all of ours are named after Harry Potter characters. Mine's Bellatrix. Yours is McGonagall, right?
Yeah.
And then Spork Ninja's
Doug's is Luna
Lovegood. Yeah, so.
And we all did that without planning it, without conversing with each other, without talking about it first. And we showed up one night and we were like, oh, yours is that? Oh, mine's this. And then Doug was like, really? You're joking. We're like, no, why? He goes, mine's Luna. And we all just see what I mean? This is why we're bros. This is why we're all part of the council. We've got that wavelength going on.
Yes.
Bro.
Leave your favorite Hatterene witch names in the comments below.
Yeah, who's your especially if you got a female Harry Potter rep that you'd try to go for that nickname. Even if you want to use one of ours, absolutely go for it. But remember, shout out where you got it from. Hit up those guys at the PMC. Gym leader Justin, Zero. So Zero, one of your favorites. Not your top 10 though. She's not good enough.
I don't know, man. It's debatable. It's debatable.
It's debatable. But bro, so she's super tiny.
Yes.
She's very tiny under all that hair basically hanging down. And because she stands up tall with the hair and has the big pointy hat, she's actually 6'1".
Yeah, dude. So she's 6'11", bro. 6'11".
Or 6'11", excuse me. She's 6'11". She's almost 7 feet tall, Zero.
Yes.
Even taller, and she only weighs 11 pounds. So obviously, most of that is like because she's a fairy. Yeah. So it's like that feathery fairy hair that she has. Her body's actually quite small.
So Justin, let's talk about the abilities here really quick because this is a lot of what makes Hatterene and why she's so good. So the first one we've got is Healer. Healer, not a great ability. It is usable in doubles. It gives a 30% chance to heal one of your allies of a status condition. She does not heal herself, but she can heal an ally.
Yeah, it's basically like gives your ally shed skin.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's essentially what Healer does. Gives up your ability to give your ally also shed skin. Which, I mean, it's not bad. It's just not efficient or reliable enough, especially in comparison to what Zero's about to say.
Coming up next, we got Anticipation. This not a very useful ability. The Pokemon will shudder if the opponent has a super effective or one-hit KO move.
Which, they are everywhere in the meta, but you know who has them. You know when they're coming. You don't need Anticipation to know that.
And then finally, we've got Magic Bounce. Magic Bounce.
The reason we're here, Zero.
Yes, this ability will bounce back moves and things that are thrown at your side, and this isn't just like physical things. So like Stealth Rock, Stealth Rock's the biggest part, right?
Yeah. Leech Seed,
it's bouncing back.
Spikes, Toxic Spikes, Sticky Web, etc. All of these hazard type things.
Yes, it's bouncing back.
As well as status moves, Zero, right? Like no burn, no yawn, no spore.
Nope. Yep, that's all bouncing back. Taunt, it's bouncing back. Encore, you're encoring yourself into Encore.
You're encoring yourself in an Encore. What about Parting Shot?
Parting Shot? Okay, so this one's funny. Parting Shot will bounce Hatterene out of the field. Instead of
wow.
So like when Incineroar will Parting Shot, it will actually
It'll make her leave.
Yes, it will make Hatterene leave.
Wow, that's weird how that works.
I know, it's kind of funny.
But, Matt, clearly this is a very, very, very powerful ability. It's what Espeon has. It's what Hatterene has here. It's, the reason we take this here. It's so strong. It makes her a very easy and or free switch-in, especially in a singles format, regardless of whether that's 3s or 6s. Yeah. Very powerful switch-in potential, right? Good pivot here.
Yeah, let's rattle through the stats really quick before we get onto their moveset. So, 57 HP, not good, right, Justin?
Yeah, it's pretty lackluster, but Rotom has a low HP stat with high defenses, and we can make that work. So maybe there's something here, Zero.
90 attack, actually not a slouch in the attack department. We've seen Envy run the Choice Bandit or the Swords Dance and Power Whip set and the Cycle Cut.
Yeah, we want like the meme of the Fire Punch Alakazam. Yes. Hatterene can actually whip her hair back and forth and smack you with her hat hand.
95 defense. Okay, this is good. 95 is great, right?
Yeah, that's solid. Like B+, A-. She's thick.
136 special attack. That is one more than Alakazam.
Wow. That's 1 point more than Fluttermane for people that are playing this meta, not Kazan stands like old Zero.
Yeah, old guys like me. 103 special defense. Very, very good.
Very respectable. That's going on the fridge. That's an A.
And then 29, which sounds bad, but in a Trick Room.
Nope, that's amazing.
In a Trick Room, you are 1 point faster than so many Pokemon. There's so many Pokemon with a 30 speed.
Yep. As we talked about in the Trick Room episode of the podcast recently, and as well as the premiere Trick Room episode, one of the mainstays of Trick Room is that base 30 speed. There's a vast majority of Pokemon that not only set up Trick Room, but operate in Trick Room that operate around that 30 base speed or at it specifically. So her being 1 point slower means that in Trick Room, she's obviously faster. Turn that hourglass upside down, right, Zero? So this is intentional that they gave her 29.
Yeah, this was by design to make her faster in a Trick Room than a lot of very strong Trick Room Pokemon.
Intentionally makes her superior than most. Not all, but most.
So, Justin, with all of that in mind, how about we hop on over to the sets? Let's talk about 3v3 first.
Yeah, dude. Good old Psychic Fairy type Pokemon. She's basically Gardevoir, but got that Trick Room variant is what we're working with, and she hits like a truck. Yes.
So, our first set here, we've got the 3v3 Trick Room / Calm Mind Hatterene. I like this EV spread here. It's kind of specific, a little niche. I know in a lot of in 6v6 formats, a lot of people will run like a bold Hatterene with just maxing out that physical defense, and then you can run Calm Mind. But this is leaning a little more offensive, right, Justin?
Yeah, it gives us a little versatility too.
Yeah, because the games in 3v3s are shorter than in singles, so I like to get that immediate. Like, I have Calm Mind on here, but sometimes you need to, take 70% of something's HP to pave the way for whatever you have in the back.
Well, and not to bury the lead here before we get into the moves, but there's also, we don't want to slouch on the special attack investment here. Yeah, it's Calm Mind, but we also got to look at what moves we're pairing here on Zero's set. These are low base power moves, so you want as much special attack investment on her core EVs as possible.
Yeah. So speaking of the moves, let's get into what we got. Psyshock here. Psyshock is a really, really nice tech here. It's a psychic special type move that hits on the physical side. We have talked about this one with some other Pokemon before, but this is how you handle things like Blissey and Fluttermane.
Never leave home without it. It is the move right now for special attacking psychic type moves.
And then we got Draining Kiss on this set. You can go Dazzling Gleam. You can absolutely go Dazzling Gleam. Nothing wrong with it. Yep. I just think that Draining Kiss is a really nice utility on this Calm Mind variation. If you want to go like the Trick Room and just hit a little bit harder, you can absolutely tech in Dazzling Gleam here. There's nothing wrong with it. I just like the leftovers plus Draining Kiss. Lots of recovery, a little bit of bulk. And then we've got a nice, defensive Terra with the water. So a lot of things,
especially in singles when you're not getting hit by 2 enemy pokes. You know what I mean? There's not double the threat.
Yes, yeah. If you're standing in front of something, you're comfortable calm minding or draining kissing, then
she just takes it.
And then we got Mystical Fire. You can go Giga Drain here as well, but you don't want to get walled necessarily by steel types. So Mystical Fire is kind of hard to leave home without that one in singles, right, Justin?
Yeah, because of your dual stab here, you kind of almost need to have it, I feel like. Because again, we could go Giga Drain, but you're walled by steels. Not to mention, you don't do very well into certain fire type matchups. It's especially certain things in the meta like Armor Rouge. So it's, I don't know. I do like Mystical Fire in this slot still for her, even without the Fire Terra.
Yeah, and Mystical Fire is also there for Caesar, who we're in Regulation C right now.
Right.
In Series 2, he was pretty prevalent. You still see him now in Regulation C.
Even with the problems of Chiyu, yeah, he's still around because he got that bullet punch, and that's part of the reason why we go Terra Water.
Yep, and this EV spread allows you to live a bullet punch from non-choice banded adamant Caesar. So any other variant of Caesar that's not choice banded max adamant, you'll live one, and then you'll automatically one hit KO with the Mystical Fire. So you flip that losing matchup into a winning matchup with this Terra nice. And with this EV spread. And then the last move, Calm Mind or Trick Room. Kind of pick your poison. You want to go bulky, go Calm Mind. If you want to flip the speeds around and turn this Pokemon into a sweeper, go Trick Room. Probably put Dazzling Gleam on there, right?
Yeah. Dazzling Gleam's always a solid nod.
So let's mention a few other moves that I think are decent in singles before we move on to the VGC. Like we mentioned, Giga Drain is one. Nuzzle is a really popular move in singles, especially in longer formats like 6v6, like in Smoke on singles.
Yeah. It's very good tech for her to be able to just point click, do a little bit of chip, break a sash or sturdy, and then insta-para.
And then the last move I think we should mention in singles is Healing Wish. This is like a pivoting move. Your Pokemon will get knocked out, and the next Pokemon will be fully healed. So you can set up a Trick Room, and then you can use the Healing Wish and get the free pivot into the incoming Pokemon.
Yeah, if she's more of the support role, and you need to pass the baton off to somebody else for the win con of that particular matchup, you just Healing Wish out, bring them in on full, and now boom, your sweeper's ready to go.
Absolutely.
Clean bill of health.
So let's move over to Pikalytics really quick. Talking about her in Regulation C singles. She's very, very far down. She is sitting at number 60. Hopefully we can see this kind of rise up a little bit. Terra Fire coming in as the hot Terra on Pikalytics, followed closely by Terra Water. We've also got Citrus Berry, Covert Cloak, Assault Vest, and there is the Leftovers and Life Orb for the items. And then obviously everyone's running Magic Bounce. And then we've got Modest and Quiet almost tied for the top natures.
A max special attack, baby. It's so important. 136 is no slouch.
So, Justin, let's move on to our VGC set. We've got the Trick Room, kind of bulky, offensive, do-it-all Hatterene. Also, I hope you guys don't mind. I put G-Max Hatterene on this image because I miss her so much, and she was so good in the last game. She's not in this game, but...
and she just looks cool. Like, look at that.
Just bear with me. Just let me have this, okay?
Yeah. So this is basically... It's very similar. You can run the exact same EV spread as the last set. Mm-hmm. Because, again, Caesar does exist in doubles as well. Mm-hmm. Not to mention there are things like Hariyama that also carry Bullet Punch. Like, it's a prevalent thing here. Being able to have that physical defense investment will pay dividends in this meta as well. I definitely like the addition of the Covert Cloak. I think that's cool tech. Life Orb is probably my favorite item for this set particular.
Yeah, I think so too. Covert Cloak's just nice because Iron Hands is still a thing right now.
Yeah.
Very strong. So this kind of matches up well if you don't Terra. But yeah, the Covert Cloak kind of helps you get through those fake outs and make sure you get your Trick Room off if you really, really need it. But Life Orb gives you that damage to kind of get everything into like a 2-hit KO range, depending on what it is. And also just nice supplemental damage for your partner Pokemon, because I feel like Hatterene will never be your main offensive carry in VGC. She's just really nice supplemental damage, right?
Yeah, she's like that offensive support where obviously, as you can see, the moves here: Psyshock, Dazzling Gleam, Trick Room, and Protect. So dual stab and then 2 support moves or utility type moves, right? So you can see just based on that alone where we're leaning with this. She's not supposed to be the main feature in terms of just, let her rip and watch her fly. You know what I mean? She is more difficult to use because, as we talk about every time when we do Trick Room episode, Trick Room takes those turns to set up. The beautiful part is, whether it's Covert Cloak and then she's setting up the Trick Room, or her ally setting up the Trick Room and she's clicking Protect, you have lots of versatility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you can't leave home without Protect on this Pokemon either, because she's so...
100 billion%. She's one of those where we say that about a lot of pokes, but most pokes are about like a 90% auto-include Protect for us when we list build. And then if we change our mind later, that's a different story. But most of the time, we start with Protect in our list building stages. Hatterene's one of those where it's 100%. Outside of, obviously, item dependent. If you're choice, obviously you can't take Protect. We know that. But outside of those case scenarios.
She's such an interesting Pokemon, and I think she's also like a really skill-based Pokemon too, because she's never your offensive carry, but you can't let her go unchecked. It's like Corviknight.
She will become the carry if you don't check her.
It's like Corviknight. Like, how many times have you kind of just like, okay, Corviknight is over there, whatever. So you take out all of your friends, or take out all of Corviknight's friends, but, maybe he's sneaking in bulk ups and roosts and tailwinds, and all of a sudden you have to deal with this Corviknight, and your team has been...
Yeah, there's Corviknight at the end of the game you got to deal with, exactly. Right. So, with this set, basically what your main goal is going to be doing, instead with like that supplemental damage, the Dazzling Gleam is great. There's also a lot of like substance here. Water's great. I like Steel. I like Fire. I also like the double dip of, I don't know about Psychic, but definitely Fairy I think would be, if you get the Trick Room set up and you want to make her the main carry and you have Life Orb, you double dip into Fairy for those Dazzle Gleams, you're going to be dropping bombs. People do that with Flutter, and this chick is 1 point stronger than Flutter Me.
Yeah, I absolutely think you can double dip with the Fairy, especially because this set has invested a little bit into your physical defense. So it's like, you can afford to go a little more offensive if you really want. So like, if you find your team needs that extra,
or maybe your team has redirection.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe your team has redirect. Maybe you've got Rage Powder. Maybe you've got Follow Me.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part about VGC is it opens up a little bit more versatility with some of these pokes like Hatterene, whereas we just mentioned earlier in the last set, in singles, you want to be that Terra Water to fight against the Caesar in that 1v1 matchup. In doubles, you have other options you could potentially go for to deal with the Caesar in the 1v1 matchup.
So, Justin, let's head on over to Pikalytics one more time. Check out our statistics and then rattle off a couple other moves we think that we like on our Hatterene for doubles, and then we will wrap this up. So, Hatterene, again, sitting at number 63. So she's sitting at 60 and 63 on cartridge usage right now. Yeah. Dazzling Gleam.
A little bit below that top 50 for what we normally look for on these. But I think it might be a sleeper pick more rather, we've shown off on the channel. She can work, clearly. So I think she's one of those hot sleeper picks of like, hey, you want to be a little bit extra Johnny today? Pull out the Hatterene. She can absolutely do work. But, Zero, I think she just requires maybe your team focus a little bit more on her than some other plugins.
And I think her usage will rise a little bit, especially if things like Woe Chain get more usage, because she kind of counters Woe Chain, to be perfectly honest.
Very hard, especially right now. He's got a lot of sub-seeding sets. She doesn't care about that because of Magic Bounce. Yeah, so
you could just, and you've got the dual stab because they like to Terra Poison a lot. You've got a dual stab that can handle.
You got dual stab to
that, if they go Terra Poison or if they want to stay, dark or whatever. So she's got the tools needed to handle that Pokemon. So
and like we said, you don't have to put Trick Room on this set. It could be 3 attacks Protect. if your partner is the Trick Room setter, to where then she could still have Mystical Fire for in case there's steal too.
And like just like you're saying, okay, we've got Dazzling Gleam, Psychic, Trick Room, and Protect as the top move. So they got a lot of people using Psychic rather than Side Shock. Totally fine. Definitely an optional. And then Mystical Fire is the next pick, Justin.
Yeah, right there, absolutely, right below Protect. So you could just slot that in. She goes a lot with Torkoal. That's because, again, Torkoal loves to be in Trick Room.
Yep. Same with Iron
And then look at this. Air types. Fire, Steel, Fairy.
Yep.
Fire and Steel are actually way high above the pack.
Yeah. Higher than our Water Call. Even flying is in Psychic above the water.
Mm-hmm.
So
Magic Bounce, 94%. As expected. I actually thought it was a little bit low than what I thought it would be. You know what I mean? I thought it'd be like 99.
I wonder if the anticipation is rising because of Fissure Ting Lu.
Maybe to see if they have it. Yeah, Quiet Nature 75%, Life Orb 59%, Covert Cloak 23%, Focus Sash. Yeah, right there. That's pretty much it. That's very interesting. I like it a lot.
So the last thing I think we want to mention about her in VGC is she's got some other nice support moves, Justin. Life Dew.
Heal
Pulse.
Helping Hand. She can legitimately be... now, I think Gardevoir does it better. Because Gardevoir has a thicker HP and special defense. Mm-hmm. So she can kind of fill that niche a little bit. But this girl has a bigger physical defense pool. So it's a little bit more well-rounded. But again, they both fill that sort of role, similar typing. One's slow, one's fast. But yeah, you could definitely do that offensive support, or just, I've run this before, Zero. You used to remember my old Gardevoir, full support Gardevoir. Max special defense with Life Dew or Heal Pulse, respectively. But on the team I had, it was with Water Absorb.
Yeah, I had offensive support Gardevoir on the Zoroark team back in Gen 8, back when we were doing Zoroark Yveltal.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah. So there's a lot of options for this Pokemon. She's got kind of a deep move pool hidden underneath all that hair.
Yeah, she definitely does.
It's basically just a matter of, like I said before, Zero, I think you just need to make sure you kind of build your team to make sure that it has the tools it needs to support the Hatterene.
Yeah.
She's not as plug and play as others because she requires the speed control.
Yes. And she's definitely a Pokemon that can win you games for sure. Like I said, I think this is definitely one of the more skill-based Pokemon out there. Especially, she's hovering in the 60s right now. If you go out there and win with Hatterene, you know what I mean? I think that says a lot.
Yes. Very, very powerful. Very strong Pokemon. Do not sleep on the Hatterene. She's no slouch.
All right, Justin, I think that about covers it. Covering another amazing Psychic type on our How to Use guides.
All these Psychic reps.
Dude, they're just OP, man. They're great Pokemon. And you know what? This Pokemon could be great on your team as well. So slap it on your team. Let us know what you think of Hatterene, especially in Regulation C. I'd be curious to see what you guys think and what your thoughts are on Hatterene in general. Justin, I think that's about it, buddy. Let's get out of here. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I've been Zero.
And I'm Justin.
Council's adjourned.